The announcement of they're in consideration of maybe moving the PRCA headquarters and the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. Tom will clear it all up for us a little later on.
And Stetson Wright has hit another milestone. I know, he just keeps setting that bar a little higher and a little higher. Find out what he has done here lately. Oh, there you can see it. $4 million in career earnings. That's the second highest total ever in pro rodeo history.
Speaking of four, bracket number 4 is complete at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. We'll take you through what happened last night at the beginning of bracket number 4 and what happened this afternoon a little earlier to conclude bracket number 4. It's all coming up on Western Sports Roundup.
Rebel yells the horse. Look at this. 2026 is his year. We're just in January, but he has set the precedence. Rusty Wright.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Cowboy Channel Studios here in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Ty McClary, alongside that gentleman right there, who is Justin McKee, who has actually been making fun of my shirt all day today. But little does he know how comfortable and how warm this shirt is. So there you go, Mr. McKee.
You have no idea how it warms my heart to know that you are comfortable and warm right now before we get this Western Sports Roundup party started.
Oh, this show's going to be a good one, folks. I can assure you that's the way to kick it off right there.
You can never go wrong with pearl snaps.
That's exactly right. That's the reason I'm wearing it today, just to impress this guy. You can never go wrong with Stetson Wright either. And here's the deal. Justin McKee, you've been working on this for hours, for days, for weeks now, figuring up how much money this guy has earned in his career, and Stetson Wright is over a big mark.
Yeah, $940,000 this last year really just rocketed him up the career earnings standings. He was number 9 a year ago in terms of the most money ever won by a rodeo cowboy. He has moved all the way up to number 2, and he has crossed over the $4 million mark. He actually did that in Denver during the long rounds before he made it to the short rounds and won a lot of money at Denver. And so now take a look at this is what I've really been working on right here. Stetson went from number 9 all the way to number 2, but still he's $3 million away from the incomparable Trevor Brazile.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Stetson Wright is just doing huge things in the world of rodeo. We're so glad to have him back this past season after the injury that he dealt with there at 23 and had to set out all of 24. Now he's back, and obviously he's back in a huge way, jumping over that $4 million mark. But you're right, he's got a big ladder to climb to get ahead of the number 1 man of all time, and Trevor Brazile at that $7 million mark. But sure could do it.
And he could win the Triple Crown. Wakesie could win the Triple Crown. I've been saying, I think I said it last week once. I'm going to say it maybe every week, that this is going to be the greatest year in pro rodeo history. There's going to be some stuff done this year that nobody's ever done before, we've never seen.
Justin, we've been talking about it the last couple years. We talked about it this past year. We talked about it in 23 for Stetson Wright. If he could win $1 million in a year, it's getting closer and closer. And that means you folks at home got to pay attention all year long here on the Cowboy Channel, so we can do our best to keep you up to date. Fort Worth rolls on. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, the 129th edition of it, bracket number 4, got underway last night when you look at it, and we tell you about what happened yesterday. In the first round, it was Nick Pelkey, Ranch and Crow Championship Pro Rodeo's big horse for 87.5.
There you go. We had some great highlights, and Nick Pelkey started off the show, and here he goes. He's a defending champion of the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. He sets number 12 in the world and 87 on Championship Pro Rodeo's Ranch and Crow, as you already mentioned. The defending champion was the NFR Open champion and has finished in the top 25 in the world standings the last 3 years. We got to get him to Vegas, though, this year.
Justin, he's been so close. He's been 17th. He's been 19th. He's been in the top 25, like you say, and we've watched him do well at Fort Worth a year ago, and just hoping that 2026 could be Nick Pelkey's year. We'll see what he can do. Katie Lucas had a chance to catch up with him last night after that round win on Ranch and Crow from Championship Pro Rodeo.
Starting off this year's Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo exactly how he left last year. How excited were you to walk back into Dickies Arena as the reigning champion?
Couldn't be tickled anymore.
You're tickled purple tonight. It's TCU night, right?
Yes. Yeah, this place is pretty sweet to me. This is the first spot. I was over 90 and win Fort Worth last year. I was more than excited to get back here.
How critical of an event has this been in your rodeo career? To me, it just really set you on an upward path.
Yeah, this place gave me all the confidence in the world last year, knowing I could go out to the big rodeos and compete. And I think that's what every guy needs, is a little confidence.
He's got that confidence, especially there in Dickies Arena, where he's had so much success. Bridger Anderson on Whiskers, a longtime friend and traveling partner. That's the horse Whiskers, that is. Bridger Anderson, he is the fastest in round one. This was last night. 3.6 for the North Dakota Cowboy. That's the second fastest run of the rodeo. And Bridger Anderson, a three-time qualifier to the National Finals Rodeo, gets the job done well.
Yeah, Whiskers had already made a few runs this week in the bracket competition with some other steer wrestlers, and falls right into place with Bridger Anderson. As you said, Justin, they're longtime friends right there as we go to the team rope and a couple of young guns. Last year's Resist All Rookie of the Year on the heading side, that's James Arviso. Teamed up with Rance Doyle at 3-9. Of course, James not only a college national champion last year, Rance and his partner Mason Appleton, remember, they set the record last year at 3-2 up in Nampa, Idaho in the team rope. These guys got fast.
That head loop wasn't any bigger than my hat when it went around those horns right there. That was slick. Good watching. All right, let's move right along to some saddle bronc riding. Here's the story. Rusty Wright just keeps climbing the charts in the world standings. Rusty on Rebel Yell. This was a 91-point bronc ride. It was absolutely gorgeous as Rusty Wright continues his track to maybe his first world championship.
He's got that on his mind, Justin. He talked about it in an interview yesterday on Western Sports Roundup with Katie Lucas. He's focused for this season. We know the ups and downs that he's been through the last couple of years with injuries and everything else. Number 2 in the world standings here in early 2026. Here's what he had to say with Katie after that monster 91 ride.
Take you to 90-plus points are also the ones that can buck you off so easily. Rusty, how much do you love just riding that fine line?
Oh, I love it. You know, I feel like I ride better and shine on them buckers like that. So I was super excited, a little bit nervous, but I knew if I did my job, we could, have a big score, and it worked out.
It certainly worked out to the tune of 91 points. You told me focus was the big word for 2026. How is that going to take you right to the top?
Oh, shoot, it seems like it's been working really good. I've been, like I told you earlier, doing the things that I think takes to win and surrounding myself with good people. Shoot, I can't ask for much more. I am focused, and I'm ready for this year. I'm really excited.
Well, he will continue, as a matter of fact, with his winning ways. More on that later. Right now, let's go to some breakaway roping. How about Katie Williams? 2 flat in round number 1 of bracket number 4. She leaves with a big smile on her face. Aggressive run and a long reach.
Yeah, part of that smile, too, was the way that rope went around that calf's neck. It kind of slipped around there on that left ear and that left eye. You saw her leaving the arena smiling about it. She even talked about it during her interview, but who cares? It went on. It doesn't matter. She gets the round win. Karen Little, my buddy, in there at number 2, and it looked good after go-round number 1 for Katie. As we go to the tie-down rope, and 2 guys to talk about. They split the round win last night. The first one of 2 is the world champion, Haven Medj, at 8-8. I said this earlier today when we were recapping this rodeo performance from last night on the afternoon performance today. That just looked easy for Haven Medj, just like he does it each and every day of the week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Mike Otero will come on along and equal that with an 8-8, even though he had to pull. He went from a dead stop at the barrier there.
And that was after he had a rerun calf. His first calf actually fell down there, Justin, and they gave him a rerun. That was the rerun calf. That's probably part of the reason he was kind of pulling there across the barrier line.
Remember, Michael Otero's name, okay? Otero. I want you to remember that because his wife would also get the win last night in round number 1. This is a horse named Sly. I want you to remember the horse's name, too. Later on, you'll know why. This horse is Sly. She goes 16-26 for the round win.
You may have heard us talking about this young lady a lot during last year's Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. That is because she's the returning champion of this rodeo. Her and Michael both have had a lot of luck in Fort Worth over past years. Michael himself has never actually won the rodeo. He said that yesterday during an interview with Katie Lucas. But Carly, she's trying to defend her title, and Michael's looking good to do well in the tie-down rope.
That's a big deal. Husband and wife get the round win in the same round, same bracket, and this is her winner circle interview with Katie.
This is just about the 5th or 6th run back. How proud are you of that horse's recovery?
Oh, I'm so proud. You know, we didn't have very good odds, and we prayed over him. I had a whole team of people praying over him, working over him. It's just a blessing. It's hard not to cry.
You beat the odds to be back in the winner's circle, and with your husband, I might add. You did this last year. Both of you won the same go-round on the same night. How proud are you to be carrying on this family tradition and making your kids proud in the stands?
Oh, I'm so proud. And, you know, our goal is to make the finals together, and I'm just praying 26 is our year.
It certainly could be for that family, that is for sure. So we take you to the bull riding. Last year's reserve rookie of the year in the resist all race there. Luke Mackey went to the NFR. Justin, I'm so glad he did not buck off a bull called Tickle Me Fancy. You can't tell your friends and family I fell off a bull Tickle Me Fancy, because he didn't fall off. He was 88 points.
Yeah, that'd be very embarrassing, but this was not. This was packed full of adrenaline and power and balance, and it was just art for Luke Mackey. Matter of fact, this is Championship Pro Rodeo's Tickle Me Fancy. As you said, look at the hop, skip, that stutter step around to the right, and then he owned him until the buzzer was over, and then he went straight to the winner's circle to visit with Kate.
88 points on Tickle My Fancy. Pure try got that ride done, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was just waiting for the buzzer, so probably need to quit thinking about the buzzer next time.
Hey, it worked tonight, but you know, no matter what your score is, if you're 78 or 88, you walk out of the arena with a smile on your face as long as you cover your bull. What is it you love so much about this game of bull riding?
I'm just here doing it with my buddies up and down the road, and it's just the life we live, and it's a blast.
So that was round number 1 last night of bracket number 4. Earlier this afternoon, just a little while ago, here on the Cowboy Channel, we had go round number 2 for you. We will recap that a little later on in this show, so you stay with us. That will mean we'll tell you who the advancers are, who's headed to the semifinals, who's headed to the wild card round. All that coming up here on the show. Also coming up here in just a moment, Tom Glause, the CEO of the PRCA, is going to join me right here in studio, get the lowdown on the possibility, the consideration of the relocation of the PRCA headquarters and the Hall of Fame, and what that story's looking like right now.
And we're going to talk about an extreme $1 million barrel race in Queen Creek, Arizona, where a barrel racer claimed over $34,000 in a single week. All that and more coming up today on Western Sports Roundup.
Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Resistol, the official hat of the PRCA and Cowboys everywhere. Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim. Live boldly. Live in rock and roll denim.
Well, welcome back to Western Sports Roundup. If you follow along on ProRodeo.com and their website, you may have seen a story come across there earlier this week about the possibility, the consideration of the PRCA Board of Directors maybe moving the ProRodeo headquarters and the PRCA's Hall of Fame. Possibility that it could go to Cheyenne, Wyoming. We'll get more to that in just a moment. In fact, the daddy of them all in Cheyenne, of course, host of one of the biggest rodeos of the year, the governor of the state of Wyoming, Mr. Mark Gordon, he had this to say about this announcement. Said rodeo's been a part of Wyoming since before we were even a state. It's absolutely in our DNA. Of course, Mark himself a cowboy. He said there's no better place on earth than right here in the Cowboy State for the PRCA to be headquartered. He went on to say we have the legacy, the respect, the tradition, and will always honor the cowboy way and code of West, Powder River, let her buck, is what the governor of the state of Wyoming, Mark Gordon, said. But of course, to get clarification on all this, to kind of share the story with you here on Western Sports Roundup, we want to welcome into our Cowboy Channel studios the CEO of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. Tom Glause joins me now. Tom, thanks for coming in. I know you're in town to be a part of the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, but thanks for coming in the studio to visit with us.
Absolutely. We're excited to be in Fort Worth for the rodeo. We went to the Perf last night. We'll go again today, but it's a little chilly down here in Fort Worth.
It is, and I kind of brought that up with you when you walked in. I said, we need a little help here in this part of the world with this snow and ice that we've been getting. You guys from up north, you're pretty used to it up there.
We're a little more accustomed to it, but where we've been traveling lately has has been cold and snowy.
Well, maybe I need to blame it on you then, Tom Glause. Maybe you brought it with you. Maybe it's your fault. All right,
I did plan to come last week, so there's
there
some
you
truth
go.
to that.
Okay, so, well, maybe I won't blame it on you. Tom, let's just get clarified out there. Folks have been reading this article, been reading this on ProRodeo.com. What is kind of going on? It's just simply the PRCA Board of Directors are considering a move. It's not happened yet. Kind of tell that part of the story.
Well, thank you for asking and giving us some opportunity to make some clarifications regarding it. I always preface with the PRCA was not looking to relocate. Over time, we've been approached by several entities. My standard spiel to anyone that wants to try and lure us out of Colorado Springs is we're not interested in relocating. We own our building, we own our land. We're not carrying any long-term debt, and we're not interested in taking on any. So if you can make an offer around those guardrails, we'll listen. And so I think we have an obligation to listen if someone is able to bring an offer on our terms.
Yes, absolutely. So Cheyenne, Wyoming was obviously a part of that. That's why we started this with what the governor of the state had just mentioned with Governor Mark Gordon there. But obviously rodeo's big in Cheyenne. I mean, that's a possibility for you guys. What's the board of directors saying right now? I guess I would ask this. What would be the next step, Tom? The board's going to have to vote on this and decide what the capabilities may be.
It will ultimately come to a vote, but let's back up a little bit. When we made the initial announcement back in November, we let members, committees, fans, sponsors, everyone know that we were being courted by Cheyenne. No decisions were being made, but we thought we needed to be transparent. We needed to let the word out there that we were being courted. The next step was to vet that. And we appointed an ad hoc committee to vet some potential sites, go visit with the folks in Cheyenne leads, and to see what they were really willing to put on the table. That's what happened when we put the announcement out in November. The next step was, as that gets further along, there has to be due diligence on both sides. Cheyenne Leads has to do their due diligence. We have to do our due diligence. Make sure it's a good fit. So the latest announcement was the board voted to enter into a memorandum of understanding. That's a non-binding memorandum of understanding. It is an exclusive, if you will, due diligence period. Before we would ever consider making a move, we want to make sure that the site that's been identified is available. The owner of that land is willing to sell, and all indications indicate that they are, but that's part of the follow-through. And also, as the governor alluded to of Wyoming, that the funding is there.
Tom, before we wrap this up, I'd like for you to tell the fans at home that are big rodeo fans, just like I am, just like the folks are that watch this network, we don't want anybody freaking out, worried about what is going on. This is just something that's taking place with the board of directors through the PRCA. What do you tell folks like that, oh my gosh, they see this announcement, it scares them to death, it's all going to be all right?
Well, remain calm.
Yeah.
You know, businesses move all the time.
Sure.
PRCA has a history of moving. Our Cowboy Turtles Association started out right here in Fort Worth. The association then moved to Oklahoma City, Denver, and then Colorado Springs, Colorado. Our building is 50 years old. We moved into that building 50 years ago.
Sure.
1979. The building needs some upgrades, some major upgrades. It served us well. If there's opportunities that make business sense, we'll look at them. You know, by all accounts, Cheyenne's offer is very attractive.
Absolutely, and it's all about making things better for the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, that is for sure. Tom, thanks for coming into the studio. It's good to have you here in person while you're in town for the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and thanks for kind of helping us clear everything up there.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Tom Glause, the CEO of the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. We invite you to stay with us here on Western Sports Roundup. Just moments ago, before we got underway here with Western Sports Roundup, bracket number 4 wrapped up from go round number 2. We will have those results for you. Who's moving on to the semifinals out of that bracket? We will let you know coming up here on the show. Better start making your plans. The American Rodeo, it's getting closer and closer. That big championship weekend. Remember, it's a new month this year in May the 22nd and 23rd, right inside of that good-looking Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Will they pay out $2 million this year? Who knows? They're qualifying all this spring to get there. Of course, they've already had qualifiers out in Las Vegas. The East qualifier coming up in April in Lexington, Kentucky, Oklahoma City the week after that. And then, of course, Las Vegas will have another one. Then it's championship weekend, May the 22nd and 23rd. The American Rodeo coming your way.
Indecent exposure as the horse. Pope goes to work.
Feet set.
The beast of the Badlands going to work. Yes, sir. Last time he had this horse, it didn't go great. But Rusty, it's a new day. Long reach. Watch how fast this man can move. Woo! Round the horns, Rance. Measures off. Oh, yes. A 5-time NFR qualifier. She won 4 go-rounds. That's Carly Otero. And fans, what you need to know is she is from Lipan, Texas.
Yeah, left foot inside. Beautiful switch around. Look at him get happy feet on that left side.
So there you have it as we continue bracket play, and we're going to get right in the middle of that bracket because there were some very impressive feats put together, but not nearly as impressive as the new studio record that I just said a few moments ago, slamming a 3/4-pound cheeseburger that was this big during the last commercial break. I've never been able to do that during a commercial break.
Not only was it that thick, it was about that big around. I've seen him eat a lot of cheeseburgers. That was the biggest and fastest cheeseburger.
I wish they could have seen it.
I do too. We should have filmed it. Too bad we missed it. I tell you what we didn't miss though was earlier this afternoon. The conclusion of bracket number 4 included Jess Pope from the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo here just a couple hours ago earlier this afternoon. A big ride for him, 85.5.
And he stayed on a horse and spurred him good on a horse named after Ty's shirt, Indecent Exposure. 85.5 for the world champion. He pretty much just waltzes through bracket number 4. He's moving on as well as, we got them all for you right here, including brackets we haven't even filled in yet.
Yeah, exactly. There you see bracket 1, 2, and 3 that have already advanced. There's the completion of bracket 4. Jess Pope, Tristan Hansen making his way in. Of course, Nick Pelkey, your champion from a year ago, won the first round last night in his bracket, and that was good enough to get him to the wild card with a couple brackets, actually 3 more brackets left to go before we finish up the bracket competition.
Let's go to some steer wrestling. Justin Schaefer just continues his role, and I mean puts a deep cleaning on that steer. Watch this again in slow motion. This 550-pound animal has no chance against the big guy from Hico, Texas.
Not at all. He was great yesterday at 4-4. In fact, he ended up 3rd place money in the round last night. Comes back this afternoon, gets the outright round win for him. 3-9 for him. Oh yeah, that 3-9 earned him $2,500, which earned him a trip to the semifinals with Bridger Anderson, who was the go-round winner yesterday. Kyle Irwin, the NFR average champion from a few years back at the NFR. He is headed to the wild card there in Fort Worth.
I'll take you to some team roping and a familiar name as we continue to talk about some guys that can get the job done. Jake Orman and Caleb Green, they go 6 flat. It wasn't the toughest round of team roping, but it's good enough to get them $2,000 apiece.
Justin, I said this on the broadcast earlier this afternoon. Those last 3 teams just made businessman kind of runs because the early part of the team roping today was pretty soft. In fact, the barrier was leading the performance until the last 3 teams roped. So I thought it was smart roping by these guys because Jake Orman, Caleb Green, they get the round win, that 6 and flat. That's good enough to get them to the wild card round. James Arvizo and Rance Dole, another good run for them today. Of course, they won the round yesterday. Cash Duty and Calgary Smith, those 2 teams headed on to the semifinals out of this bracket number 4.
All right, saddle bronc riding coming your way, and we've got Rusty Wright, who is chasing a world championship this year. He is sneaking up on Wyatt Casper, who's number 1, and Rusty Wright, as we mentioned earlier in this show, is number 2. He also was the winner of round 1 in his bracket with the 91, and he follows that 91 with an 88 on Blue Chip.
Blue Chip of the Calgary Stampede, and wow, Rusty just continues to put 2 good rides there in Fort Worth. Folks, I'm telling you, just go ahead and put a star by his name on the season. That guy, he said it in the interview yesterday, he is focused on this year, he is ready. He's been up and down with injuries over the last 3 or 4 years. That is not the case this year. He is looking good for 26.
That's going to put him over $50,000 with that win, with the opportunity to put another $20,000 with that. There's your brackets all over the place. We've got big names. His brother there in bracket 3, Statler Wright, the world champion. Wild card, Jacobs Crowley from 3. We're just thinking and praying for him after a really tough injury the other night. Chase Brooks is joining Rusty Wright from bracket 4. Leon Fountain is the wild card representative.
All right, in the breakaway roping, Samantha Fulton was the fastest of the go-round today. She was 2 seconds flat. She was good in the first round as well. She got her some decent money out of round number 1. And, of course, thanks to that 2 flat today, you see right there, a little over $2,500 earned, not just for, or that was just for this round today for go-round number 2. But the young lady from Miller, South Dakota, good enough for her to move on to the wild card round. Katie Williams won the round last night. Kinley Bernice, who just got done going to her first ever National Finals Rodeo breakaway roping, they are headed on to the semifinals.
And we are going to head on to some tie-down roping. What do you say we feature the guy in the green shirt? How about Corey Solomon? Calf moves over left, but so does Corey, and his horse get right back in behind him, 8.2. He is going to win easily in this second round of bracket number 4. By the way, again, this was this afternoon. He got the job done in 8-2.
He was first to rope today, and he knew after yesterday's performance that it didn't go quite as good as he wanted him to, maybe not as quite as much money as he wanted. He knew he had to put a big run on him today, and that's exactly what he did. Being first out, knew he had to throw that kind of run, that kind of tie, take a chance. Rapnahui talked about that during his interview. He knew this bracket style, kind of tournament style. He had to take that chance. That chance paid off for he, along with Haven Medjid, to move on to the semifinals. Because of the tiebreaker system, Haven and Michael Otero actually were tied on money won. Because of those tiebreakers, Haven being a little ahead in the world standings ahead of Michael, that puts Michael Otero to the wild card, Corey and Haven to the semifinals.
Speaking of Otero, let's keep in the same family conversation. Here is Michael's wife, Carly Otero. Now, she won last night in round number 1 on a horse called Sly. That's the Sorrow. How about this Dunn getting around there? That's Twix, and that horse is also going to not only get her the go-around win, but ties Wyndon Johnson for the fastest run ever in Dickies Arena.
Yeah, 16.08 for that tie in the arena record. Carly Otero, the reigning champion and returning champion of this rodeo in Fort Worth. She's doing exactly what she did a year ago, starting off by winning her go-rounds inside of her bracket. She continues to do that, and in fact, there's a little theme going on here in the barrel racing. You see in bracket 1, Emily Beisel,
yes,
she won both rounds in her bracket.
Right.
Bracket 2, Haley Gibson-Stillwell won both rounds in her bracket. Carly Otero comes back, does the same thing. McKenna Shook, one of our rookies last season, she moves on with Carly. AC Pinkston, the collegiate champion, heads to the wild card round.
All right, the bulls are always challenging. Rafter G specializes in great bulls, and they bring some really strong partners as well. Here comes Tristan Mize getting the job done. 84 points, and he looks good doing it. Spurs him up a little bit, gets some extra points along the way. Number 20 in the world standings, that was Pickett Pro Rodeo's Inflation.
This is where the bull riding and the bracket tournament style play gets kind of interesting at these rodeos like this, because when you go back to round one, only 2 qualified rides. So then that makes the guys today, they had to ride to even stand a chance. Tristan Mize was one of those. The ride today, winning the round, gets him to the wild card round. Luke Mackey, the only guy to ride both bulls in his bracket, he advances on to the semifinals after winning the go-round yesterday. Dustin Bouquet, the NFR veteran, no score today, but that 84 yesterday, because he and Luke were the only guys to ride, got him enough money in the semifinals.
Coming up when we're done with Western Sports Roundup, bracket number 5 begins tonight, and then they will finish up tomorrow afternoon before we go to bracket 6 and so on down the line. That's an outside look at Dickey's Arena. That's where we will feature once again tonight here on the Cowboy Channel, the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, 8:30 Eastern.
Don't miss it, and don't miss what's coming up next on Western Sports Roundup. I will talk to the man in charge of the Prairie Circuit Finals. Of course, that is Bronc Rumford will join me. That's taking place this weekend. They had to reschedule it back from last fall. We'll tell you the whole story when we come back in just a moment. Taking place this weekend, that's the Prairie Circuit Finals. Remember, it was rescheduled back late last fall because of the EHV outbreak that took place. It is about to get underway with the Prairie Circuit Finals this weekend in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. To tell us all about this and what it took to reschedule it, the man in charge there at the Prairie Circuit Finals, and of course the Prairie Circuit, Bronc Rumford, longtime president of the Prairie Circuit. Bronc, thanks for joining us here today. And Bronc, I want you to kind of start with backing up to the decision to reschedule this event, because it actually was going to take place in Mulvane, Kansas there right after the national finals. Steer roping took place, and that wasn't the case, though. We just thought it would be safe for everybody with the EHV1 outbreak, keeping the horses safe, to reschedule the event. Kind of talk about that when the decision was made to reschedule it.
Well, it's been quite a trek to get to where we're at today. You know, the whole rescheduling thing started, we've been at Duncan, Oklahoma for 13 years, and they'd done a great job there in Duncan, but they had some things happen and some things come up, and in July, they decided they weren't able to continue their sponsorship of the Prairie Circuit Finals. So we had less than 6 months to get it rescheduled somewhere. We had to find a place. Of course, we found Mulvane, the Kansas Star Arena there in Mulvane, Kansas, and they were so good to work with, and we were really excited. The advanced tickets had went well there. Of course, then with the outbreak of the virus, we just decided that in proximity to the National Finals Rodeo, if anything was to happen, you know, and we quarantined all those animals, it would be best to, you know, to cancel and reschedule. You know, there was quite a discussion on the rescheduling, but the main reason we rescheduled was for the Cowboys. You know, the money allows them from the circuit finals, allows them entry and qualifications into some of the big winter rodeos. And if you took that away from them, that was a minus. Of course, then, you know, the average winner at the finals gets a shot at the NFR Open. So if you took that away from them, that was another deal. So we just felt like we had to reschedule. We come up with Pawhuska, and they've been so good here at the Osage County Fairgrounds, and just have helped in every way possible. And but we had less than a month and a half to get ready for here. So, and then, of course, in the past week, we had blizzard and snow and cold. So we've had a lot of obstacles.
Yeah, it sounds like that for sure, Bronc. One thing I want you to touch on, too, is, you know, when you think about rescheduling an event like this, I don't think folks that have never produced or put on an event like this, like you have, understand all the logistics that go into rescheduling. So, okay, one, finding a new location, which you guys had to do, and landed in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Something else, you know, contestants that maybe be at other rodeos this week, that had to go into consideration. Also, just like you yourself, you've been a long-time stock contractor all these years, but stock contractors bringing stock to the circuit finals this weekend. Maybe they're at other rodeos with their stock. There's a lot that has to go into a rescheduling an event like this.
Well, there is. There's so much, and you know, there's no way to reschedule and make it work for everybody. You just have to, you know, cover the most that you can do for the most people. But the stock contractors, you know, was really hard finding a week, you know, or a time when the majority of them could you know, participate. The Cowboys, same thing with, you know, Denver, Fort Worth going on, and of course into the whole winter Texas swing run, and so that then, you know, you look at marketing and promotion and trying to make the finances work. You know, rescheduling with your sponsors. You know, some of them wanted to stay hooked, you know, for the reschedule. Some of them wanted to remain just for next year. So there's just so many things to consider in that reschedule, and it's been tough.
Well, it sounds like y'all have got it all done, and it's going to take place this weekend. As you mentioned, super important for these contestants to get to compete at the Prairie Circuit Finals to hopefully try to qualify and move on to the NFR Open later on this summer. You already had the Steer Open part of the Prairie Circuit Finals earlier today. You got a performance coming tonight and another performance tomorrow night. So, Bronc, thanks for all the hard work. Thanks for getting it rescheduled, and I know everybody in the Prairie Circuit is appreciative of you and all the hard work for the others that have being able to put this event together. Bronc Rumford, thanks for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ty.
Bronc Rumford there with the Prairie Circuit Finals getting underway this weekend. Of course, you'll be able to watch it on the Cowboy Channel Plus app later on this weekend. I think it'll actually be available on there maybe on Sunday. You'll be able to catch it, so check that out for the Prairie Circuit Finals. We ask you to stay with us here on Western Sports Roundup, because when we come back, we're going to tell you about a barrel racer that won a pile of money out in Arizona. In fact, it was another rescheduled event. It didn't matter for that one right there. She still left Arizona with a big pocket full of it. We'll tell you all about it when we come back.
For us to clean and treat and heal everything, we've got it all here for the Veteran Top 3.
That's what we did with the announcement with Tom Glause here in studio with us. We cleaned, treat, and healed the announcement of the PRCA Headquarters and Hall of Fame with the possibility, the consideration of the PRCA's board of directors about maybe moving it and kind of what's going on with that announcement.
And we learned that Jordan Knight went to a makeup event with the Extreme $1 Million barrel racing event in Queen Creek, Arizona. She was the high money earner. She won over $34,000. He's a Swift Spider, was her main gun to get the job done in Queen Creek.
Just a few moments ago, Bronc Rumford from the Prairie Circuit Finals joined me to tell us about the rescheduling of that event. It's going to be in Pawhuska, Oklahoma this weekend. In fact, tonight and tomorrow night, you'll be able to catch it here in a couple days on the Cowboy Channel Plus app. So we'll be looking for that as they getting ready to crown their Prairie Circuit champions. Remember, the champions of the year and the average champions at these circuit finals all get to move on to the NFR Open in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
All right, well, we have a lot of superstars all over the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Not all of them are contestants. Some of them are entertainers, and Katie Lucas caught up with one of the best entertainers in Fort Worth this week.
Well, you know, we're quite a few perfs into the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, but there's one guy, one co-host, if you will, that has been making things a lot of fun for me, and as he should. He's got a great title. He is your reigning Clown of the Year in the PRCA, Matt Merritt. Thanks for joining me all week. You're making this fun.
I know, it's really been fun working with you. We're doing the whole pre-show thing here at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and it's just nice to have a light-hearted, fun approach to the day before we start. It just sets the tone.
Yeah, I really think it does. We have a lot of fun. We have gone literally all around this building. We've been in the rafters even. We're going to go sample some of the food a little bit later today. You guys know that I'm excited about that one in particular. But for anyone that is coming out early to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, it kind of gives us a chance to introduce what makes Fort Worth so special.
Yeah, Fort Worth is a different animal. Like every rodeo, you and I know, we go to them all over. And if you watch the Cowboy Channel, they all have a different flavor, you might say. But Fort Worth, it's a mix of tradition and excitement, but then there are new people. There are quite a few new people occasionally at the rodeo, and so then there's that novelty feel for them. So we try to mix in like the old traditional rodeo with the big grand entry and all that, but then a lot of new things. So we're doing some giveaways. You and I have been a part of that in the pre-show, and that to me is kind of my favorite, most rewarding part. The fan of the night thing, I like not trying to get super deep, but I literally like pray for that to spread joy, and it does. We gave away one today that was like, this is the sweetest deal ever. If you were watching, I don't know, but it was 3 little kids that really it made their whole day. It was awesome.
What is a moment like that that stands out, not just necessarily here, but throughout your career? You get to make a difference in people's lives. I know it's all fun and games out there, but you can really brighten someone's day. Is there a particular story that really sticks with you?
One of them from here, there was a man, I can't remember, so any fact checkers, don't get me all mixed up here. I think he was 92 or something, but it was this elderly man. And we gave him Fan of the Night, and he stood up, and I just asked him, have you ever had 9,000 people cheer for you? His answer was no. Would you like for that to happen? And, you know, like we all live our lives, maybe we'll never get that. We're lucky in the rodeo business to hear people cheer for us and with us, but to see that guy's face when however many thousands of people it was cheered for him, it was awesome. It melted him, and it melted more than that. It melted everyone around. We were all just like, oh, what a moment. You know, it was really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch you really make an impact in the lives of all of these fans here, and I think that's a really important part of your job, and it's a good balance that I think you're really good at striking. Yes, you tell a lot of great jokes, and you're so funny on the spot, but you've got that personality that you can just go and make a friend in the crowd. So it's been a lot of fun to work with you, but this work's been serious, too. We're many perfs, and I don't even know how many perfs we're in right now. Do you know?
I could do the math, but I don't know how long my segment's going to be. We've done a number of them. 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and then Sunday matinee. So this is like the blitz part of it. So we'll do the 5 performances in a short window, and then that gap between Sunday at 4:30, whenever we're finished, until the next Monday performance feels like an eternity. So that's kind of our big break, and that's when we all unwind and relax. But we're in the middle of it, you know. And look, it's Texas swing time. You got San Antonio coming up, and don't weaken now. We don't have time for that.
It's time to mash on the gas, and not just for us, but for our rodeo contestants. We have now wrapped up another bracket. We're getting ready to kick one off in the performance tonight. So we've got more fun coming your way, but also more great rodeo action.
I'm glad Katie had a chance to visit with Matt Merritt. He's good inside the arena. He's good outside the arena. He's funny. There's a reason he's the 2025 PRCA Clown of the Year, and he's got a great heart. He just loves to entertain people, and it doesn't even have to be just inside the rodeo arena. That guy has fun everywhere he goes.
Yeah, but can he slam cheeseburgers?
Maybe not as good as you can.
That's the question.
Are you going to have to eat another cheeseburger before the rodeo gets started here in a minute?
I might. I'm getting hungry.
Probably could. Bracket number 5 is underway with you here in just a few moments with this guy right here. If he's not busy eating cheeseburgers, Sam Peterson is going to be one to watch for, the reserve world champion bareback rider from last season of 2025. Definitely one of the young guns that, if he was reserved last year, what can he do for 2026?
Yeah, he's already in the top 15. He's in a good spot, and everybody in Helena, Montana's on his side. $226,000 last year.
Yeah, and the Bronc Riding. Couple names to point out that you might better watch for. One of them's a 3-time NFR average champion, Brody Kress, who just got done with another trip for him at the National Finals Rodeo. This guy can just dominate just about anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's his hometown rodeo or Cheyenne or wherever it is in Fort Worth, or Ryder Wright, world champion saddle bronc rider, can be pretty stout as well.
Yeah, world champion times 3, trying to stay ahead of his, or try to keep up with his brother, Rusty. Barrel racing tonight. This is the lady that knows how to win the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. She did it in 2022. Also, how about 4-time world champion Haley Kinzel? And speaking of Montana a moment ago, they're all behind Taylor Moinkins, who qualified for her first National Finals Rodeo.
And remember how much success Haley Kinzel has had at Fort Worth. She's won the rodeo. She's been the reserve champ there on about 3 different occasions there in Fort Worth. So, oh yeah, she can be good. As we show you the bull riding, 2 guys to talk about. One of them's a young gun. One of them's been a reserve world champion. Hayden Welsh is definitely one of the guys to talk about for this season of 2026. Not only is he one of our top rookies this year, but that guy's putting on a show for this 2026 season.
Ooh, that is one of the big things we're going to follow here this year, is what he can do to follow up that big permit season. Breakaway roping coming your way. And we've got some great girls and some amazing horses, including world champion Kelsey Domer.
And a Fort Worth champion with Kelsey Domer won this rodeo just a couple of years ago. There's Haley Williams. She's been to the last couple National Finals rodeos, a breakaway roping, and that girl's had success in Fort Worth before. Ended up about third here just a couple of years ago for Haley.
Yeah, and she won 3 rounds at the National Finals of breakaway roping. Folks, thank you for joining us for Western Sports Roundup. I'm Justin McKee. That's Todd McClary. Been an honor to have you. Stick around. We've got the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo coming up right after this short break.